Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to everybody who is joining me today for this YouTube live. Whether you are watching live or if you're watching on the replay, I am super excited to hang out with you today. You guys don't know, these live streams with you guys once a month are really like the highlight of my month. I love coming on here, sharing information for you guys. I love to see all the people who are still excited about this opportunity to become a self-employed notary loan signing agent. And I love having the opportunity to share the information that I have with each and every one of you. So this video today is a crucial one. It's actually a remake of a video that I did about 4 years ago. I can't believe I've been on YouTube for that long now, but it's a remake of a video that I did about 4 years ago. And this is information that is crucial for everyone who either wants to be a signing agent or is already a signing agent. In this video, we are going to talk about how to calculate your costs so that you can make a profit. I know for a lot of people, when they decide to become a loan signing agent, this is one of their very first times being self-employed and trying to figure out what all of your costs are to make sure that you can make a profit is super, super important. A lot of people get into this and they think they're making a profit and they're really not. And they don't realize it until later on down the road. And then they end up stopping their business because it's just not profitable because they did not understand their costs from the very beginning. So hopefully, whether you are a new signing agent or an aspiring signing agent or even a veteran signing agent, hopefully this video, this live stream, this replay will help you out so that you will know how to calculate your costs to make sure that you are making a profit. But first, guys, please, as always, do me a favor. Make sure that you hit this like button. That's how I know that you guys like that type of stuff, the types of videos that I am putting out for you guys. It also lets YouTube and the algorithm know that this is the type of stuff that you like, so you will see more types of videos like this on your feed. And then once you've hit that like button, if you are not already subscribed, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And then make sure that you hit the notification bell. When you subscribe and when you hit the notification bell, then you get notified every time I put out new videos and new content so that you don't miss anything. And then I see you guys have already started doing it. You guys already know what I want to know. What city and state are you watching from? Whether you are watching live or whether you are watching on the replay, tell me what city and state you are watching from. Also tell me whether you are an aspiring signing agent. That means you have not done any loan signings yet. You're just checking it out. You're just thinking about it. You are an aspiring signing agent. Let me know if you are a new signing agent. You're a signing agent, but you've been doing this thing for a year or less. And then let me know if you are a veteran signing agent. You got more than a year of this thing under your belt. You a pro. You've been doing this for a minute. Another thing that I want you guys to tell me today, since we're going to be talking about costs and profits, I want to hear from each and every one of you before I go into the breakdown. What do you think the lowest acceptable amount is for a loan signing for a purchase or a refinance loan? And I'm gonna throw a couple of other things in there to help us all stay on the same page. Let's assume that this loan package is about 165 pages. Let's assume you got to print 2 copies, and let's assume that it's about a 20-mile drive each way to and from the assignment. Let me know, what is the minimum amount that you think you would accept for a signing of that type? So again, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay, let me know what city and state you're from. Let me know if you're an aspiring signing agent, a new signing agent, or a veteran signing agent. And then let me know, what is the lowest amount that you would accept for a purchase or refinance signing with all of the things that I said just a moment ago. And then, guys, do me a favor. If you are watching live, I usually have some people who come on a little bit late and they always want to know, oh my gosh, I missed the beginning. Will the replay be available? If you see somebody ask that question, do me a favor, let them know. Yeah, the replay will be available. It's actually available as soon as the live stream is over. Let's scroll up. I'm going to see where we got people coming in from today. We've got Pam from Missouri City. We've got Mark from Newark, New Jersey. We've got Stephanie from Roselle, New Jersey. We've got people from Palm Springs. We've got people from Kissimmee. We've got folks here from Georgia. I'm excited to see all of you guys. And then some of you guys are telling me what the minimum amount is that you would accept for a purchase or refinance signing about 20 miles away from you of about 165 pages. Farrelly said 175. I like how you think. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see what other numbers we've got here. Cinder said 350. Look, if you can get them to pay it, I'm not mad at it. Mark is saying 75. Stephanie is also saying 75. We've got Joanne here saying 150. We've got some people down here saying 100. Look, we've got a whole bunch of different numbers going on. So I'm going to show you guys how I determine costs, and then that will help each and every one of you decide what the lowest amount is that you will be willing to accept. Awesome. And I love all of those answers. And then, of course, guys, you know I am going to have a Q&A session at the end of the video. Do me a favor, try your best to hold your questions until the end. I may miss it if you ask your question while I'm doing the rest of the presentation. I'm going to do my best to answer all of the questions during the live stream, but if I miss your question, or if you are watching and you have a question on the replay, put it down in the chat, put it down in the comments, and I always go back and do my best to answer all of those questions. And you guys know I always have links and information and other goodies for you in the description box of the YouTube video. But then I always have people say, I don't see the description box. Where the heck is the description box? So if you are watching this on a laptop or desktop computer, underneath the video, you'll see the title of the video. You'll see a little bit of the description box, and then you will see the word more. Click on the word more to open up the description box. Now, if you're looking at this on your phone or your mobile device, like most of us do, again, if you look underneath the title of the video, you're going to see the word more. Click on the word more. That's going to open up the description box a little bit. And then you're going to see the word more again. Make sure you click on more that second time. And then when you do that, whether you're on your computer or whether you're on your mobile device, you will see the full description box open up, and links to everything that I'm going to talk about in this video will be found in that description box. And of course, the freebies that I always have for you guys. First and foremost, I've got my free new signing agent checklist. Definitely, if you are a new or an aspiring signing agent, make sure that you download this checklist. This tells you step by step everything that you need to do to get started as a signing agent. It also helps you figure out costs of different things. So some of these things that I'm going to be talking about in the video, again, it's going to be reiterated in this checklist, so you will know how much these different things cost when you get started as a signing agent. I also have my free AI guide for notaries down in the description box. Chat GPT, AI, all of those things are great tools that we can use in our notary business and in our signing agent business. And I had a video that I did for you guys, and I have a written guide to help you use AI effectively in your notary and in your signing agent business. So make sure that you download that guide and make use of that information as well. Woo! All right, intro's over. We are going to get into the heart of this video. Now, again, a lot of people who are new to being signing agents, I also find are new to being self-employed as well. And one of the things that is kind of new and even a little bit difficult for people who are new to this industry to understand is that companies who hire us, companies that contract us, are not required to pay us a fair amount. There is no such thing as minimum wage when you are an independent contractor. There's just an amount that is offered, and you can either accept or reject that offer. So I think a lot of new signing agents think, well, if this is what a company is offering, then this must be a fair amount. And that is not the case at all. You have to realize title companies, signing services, they are in business to make a profit. And honestly, the less they pay you, the more profit they are going to make. So they're going to offer as little as they can to increase their profit. It is up to you as the independent contractor to determine what your costs are to make sure that you will make a profit. Now, something else I want you to keep in mind as you're going through this video, there is more than one way to calculate your costs. This is just how I like to do it. So I love you guys, but don't be in my comments talking about, well, somebody else said this and this other person said that, and this other person don't do it this way. There's more than one way to calculate your costs to help determine a profit. The biggest thing is you need to do something. You need to be doing something to calculate your costs to make sure that your business is profitable. And I want you guys to know I'm using average numbers or example numbers in this video. So it's going to be up to you to adjust these numbers for your particular situation. You're more than welcome to use these numbers, but you may find that some things may be higher for you or lower for you. And to be more accurate for your situation, you need to use your own real numbers. Okay, so there's a couple of different types of costs that you have as a notary loan signing agent. So I'm going to call them recurring costs and periodic costs. Reoccurring costs are items that you purchase a lot. And these are really the things that people think about when they're thinking about their costs. So some of the most prevalent recurring costs that we have as signing agents is paper. You're going to go through a lot of paper as a signing agent. Paper is a big recurring cost. Toners and drums for your printer. That is another cost that you're going to be purchasing over and over again all of the time. Gas for your vehicle and other vehicle expenses. That's another cost that you're going to see all of the time. And then we've got taxes. Nobody likes paying taxes, but guess what? You still got to pay taxes. So those are the biggest costs that you are going to easily see coming out of your profits. However, those are not your only costs. And you also need to keep in mind these other items that I'm going to call periodic costs. These are items that you purchase less frequently, but you still have to have them if you are a signing agent. So examples of those are going to be your notary commission. You only purchase your commission once every 4 years, right? So it's not something that you think about all the time, but that is a cost. You've got your other notary supplies, your notary stamp, your notary journal, ink for your notary stamp. You also have things like your notary bond and your errors and omissions insurance. You've got other office supplies like ink pens, binder clips, folders, all those types of things. You've got professional fees. So you got to get the NNA signing agent certification exam. You also got to get the NNA background screening. That's an annual fee that you're going to pay for once a year. And then you've also got equipment depreciation. Your printer is not going to last forever. Your scanner is not going to last forever. Those things wear down, and eventually you're going to have to purchase new ones. So these are costs that are still going to come out of your profits. You just don't see them as often. And because people don't see them as often, they tend to forget about them and they tend not to think about it as much. But these are things that will absolutely eat into your profits. So let's start crunching some actual numbers because we're going to do real numbers and give you guys real examples. So remember, paper was one of the first things that I listed that you're going to have to buy over and over again. So we're going to start off with letter size paper. So that is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. That's a regular size sheet of paper. if you're a signing agent, you need to be buying paper by the case. It's going to be less expensive. So a 10 ream case of letter size paper is about $45. You might be able to spend less, you might spend more, but that's a good average price. There's going to be 5,000 sheets of paper in each case. So 5,000 sheets divided by $45 turns out to be 0.009 cents per piece of paper. So a little less than a penny for each piece of paper. But you're normally going to have to print on both letter and legal size paper. So let's see how much legal size paper costs. So a case of legal size paper, 10 reams of legal size paper, that's that long paper, 8.5 by 14, for 5,000 with 5,000 sheets per case, it's about $85. So that works out to 0.017 cents per piece of legal size paper. So it's almost 2 cents. It's almost double the cost of letter sized paper. So your packages are normally going to be a mixture of both letter size paper and legal size paper. And I find that it's about a 70-30 split, where about 70% of the package is on letter size paper and 30% of the package is on legal size paper. So when we take those costs for letter size paper and legal size paper and we figure out 70% and 30%, that works out to 0.0114 cents per piece of paper. So almost 0.012 cents per page. I'm just going to round it up to 0.012 cents per page. So still just a little bit more than a penny. And I know you're like, Kendra, that's not a lot. How is this adding up? Okay, but hold on. Let's keep up with the math, because a penny per page does not sound like a lot, but it's going to come into play in just a moment. So now, when we're printing on paper, we don't just have blank paper. We have to print using toner. So to figure out how much our toner costs per page, we have to take the price of the toner cartridge and we have to figure out our page yield. How many pages can we print with this toner cartridge? So if you're a new signing agent, you probably have no clue how many pages you are going to get from your toner cartridge. Well, the toner cartridges will tell you the estimated number of pages. It's called a projected page rating. And that's either going to be in the description, like if you're looking it up online, you'll see it in the description. Or if you're looking at the actual toner box, you're going to see it on the box. And I've got a couple of examples here where I'm pointing with the little green arrows to show you what that projected page rating is. So it's going to tell you on the box what that projection is. However, those page ratings are based on prints with only 5% of the page covered. Loan packages are very text heavy. So your actual printing prices per page is going to be higher because you're going to use more toner per page. So I suggest cutting the page yield that you see on the box in half. So if it says that you're going to get 5,000 pages, you're really only going to get about 2,500 because of the amount of toner that you're going to use on each page. And then what you can also do, guys, your printer keeps track of how many pages you have printed. Once you've gone through a toner cartridge, you will be able to see actually how many pages you were able to print. And you'll be able to update your figures using that number. But if you don't have that number yet, then like I said, I would just take that estimated number from the box and divide it in half. So another thing that you want to keep in mind, though, when you're thinking about the cost of your toner and your drum, it's going to vary. All toner is not the same price. Toner for one printer is going to be one price. Toner for another printer is going to be another price. So it's going to depend on the model printer that you use. It's also going to depend on whether or not your printer uses a separate toner cartridge and a separate drum cartridge. Brother brand printers are very, very popular because they tend to be widely available and they tend to cost a little bit less. However, with Brother printers, you do have to purchase a separate toner cartridge and a separate drum cartridge. So while the printer itself may be less expensive, you end up paying a little bit more for the supplies. HP brand printers tend to have the toner and the drum all in one unit. And so you end up spending less money on toner cartridges for HP brand printers, but HP brand printers tend to be more expensive in the start. So when you're looking at purchasing a printer, don't just look at what the cost of the printer is. Before you even buy the printer, do your research. Find out how much toner is. Find out if you need toners and drums. Find out how much drums are if you also need drums. And then the price of your toner is going to depend on whether you're using brand name or generic toner. Another thing to keep in mind, if you're buying a brand new model printer, there may not even be generic toner available for that printer yet. It takes a little while for companies to start manufacturing generic models of your toner for brand new printers. So keep that in mind, especially if you're buying a brand new model printer. You need to look at all of these things before you commit to the purchase of a printer so that you will have an idea of what your printing costs are going to be. So let's break down some toner and some drum numbers. $100, I'm going to use that as the price for our toner cartridge. And again, you may find it lower. It may be higher depending on the different factors that we just talked about. And let's say that this toner cartridge is going to give us 3,000 pages for our page yield. So then when we do the math, that means that for each page that we print, we're going to spend 0.033 cents for toner. Now, let's say we are using a Brother brand printer and it also needs a drum. Let's say the drum is $90, but it gets us a 12,000 sheet page yield. So again, we're going to do the math. That means that our drum is going to cost 0.0075 cents for every page that we print. So we're going to add the toner and the drum number together, and that gives us 0.0405. So it's going to cost us for our toner and our drum, it's going to cost us about 0.041 cents for every page that we print. So less than a nickel. And I know, again, you're like, Kendra, a nickel, that's not a lot. But hold on. These numbers add up. I promise you. So remember, our paper cost us 0.012 cents per page, and our toner and drum costs us 0.041 cents per page. So when we add that together, that means it's going to cost us 0.053 cents total per page that we print. So then the next question is, okay, well, how many pages are we going to have to print? Because again, a nickel does not sound like a lot. Well, I found that the average size of a purchase or refinance package is approximately 165 pages. Again, some packages are smaller, some packages are bigger, but on average, for a purchase or refinance mortgage loan, it's going to be about 165 pages. You as the signing agent, you have to print 2 copies. So that means you are going to print 330 pages for a signing. So if we take 330 pages and we multiply that times our 0.053, our cost per page, it's going to cost you $17.49 just to print the package. I'll hear people say sometimes, oh, it only costs a couple of dollars to print a package. It only costs $5. No, it don't. It costs almost $20 to print a loan package out. So we're going to remember that number. We are going to come back to that. So another big expense, again, that you're going to have when you are a signing agent is going to be your vehicle expenses. We are mobile notaries. Our job is to drive to the client. They are paying us for that convenience. It's just like Grubhub or DoorDash. We are paying that dasher to use their car to get our food and bring it to us. So when we do loan signings, it's a mobile notary. We're using our car to drive to the signer. You're going to drive a lot as a mobile notary. That's because, again, that's your job. So you're going to spend a lot of money on gas. In busy times, I fill up my car at least 2 times a week. And I actually have a pretty fuel efficient car. My car gets about 31 miles to the gallon. So I fill up my car at least twice a week. If you're busier than that, you're going to fill up more than that. If your car is less fuel efficient than that, you're going to fill up more than that. And then another thing that you need to keep in mind is you are going to spend a lot of money on maintenance for your vehicle. Since you are driving more, you're going to need oil changes much more frequently. And one of the things that I always tell people is that you need to invest in better quality oil changes. Don't just get the cheapest oil change that you can. I suggest that you get full synthetic oil and that you get basically an oil change for a high mileage vehicle. That is going to help you keep your car in good shape while you're putting all of these miles on your car. You're also going to need more frequent tire rotations. You're going to be buying tires more frequently than you would. All of your other scheduled maintenance, you're going to be doing it more frequently than you usually would. And another big thing that people really don't think about is you're putting miles on your car. So this means that the value of your car is going down faster. Your car is depreciating faster. So when you go to sell your vehicle or trade your vehicle in, you're going to get less money because you have more miles on your car than the average person who is not a loan signing agent. You're going to lose money down the road. So we want to make sure that we are calculating that into our costs. And again, this is another place where people think they're making a profit, but they're really not when these costs hit them down the road. So for ease of calculation, for an estimate, I like to use the mileage rate that is set by the IRS to give me an estimation of gas, vehicle expenses, and depreciation. Okay. Now, again, you can be more accurate by keeping a log of your actual gas and your actual maintenance expenses and using all of that to figure out your calculations for cost. But just for ease of calculation, I like to use the mileage rate set by the IRS. So for 2024, the mileage rate is 67 cents per mile. So let's say that we've got a loan signing that is 20 miles away from us. So it's 20 miles there, 20 miles back. That is 40 miles round trip. So when you multiply 40 miles by 67 cents per mile, that comes up to $26.80 as your cost for your vehicle expenses. Again, guys, this is not an immediate cost. I'm not saying that you're spending $26.80 on gas. I'm saying that all of those different things that I listed, oil changes, more frequent oil changes with better quality oil, more frequent tire purchases, more frequent other car maintenance that you have to pay for, and as well as the depreciation of your vehicle. All of that, I'm including that in that $26.80 cost, because again, you may not pay that much tomorrow for your car, but I promise you, as you're a signing agent, you're going to see that your vehicle expenses are higher. And again, when you go to trade in or sell your vehicle, you're going to see that you're going to get less money. So we want to make sure that we're making a profit that will cover those expenses. The next big expense that you also need to calculate in your costs is taxes. Guys, you need to set aside at least 10% for taxes. Because here's a very common misconception that I hear from people who are new to being self-employed, people who are new to being signing agents, is they think that they can deduct their expenses dollar for dollar. So they think, oh, well, I spent $100 on paper, so that's going to count $100 off on my taxes. That is not how it works. Your deductions for your expenses are not dollar for dollar, okay? It's not going to even out in the wash like that. More than likely, even if you have expenses, you are still going to have to pay taxes. And if you want more information on what things to look out for as far as taxes are concerned, how depreciation actually works, how much money you should set aside, make sure that you watch the video that I did a few months ago on how to handle taxes for notary signing agents. My actual tax professional, the lady that does my taxes and has saved me a ton of money on taxes, is on that video. Her name is Cheryl Levels. And in the description box to that video, there is a link where you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with her. But guys, please watch that video so that you can get a better understanding of how taxes are actually going to work for you as a self-employed signing agent. But in the meantime, you need to put aside 10% for your taxes. Then we also have to think about our time, okay? Your time is not free. Your time is also something that you need to be compensated for. In general, it's going to take you 2 to 3 hours to complete a signing from the very literal start to the finish. So when I say the start, I mean printing documents, prepping those documents, getting them ready in whatever order or way that you like to get them ready, driving out to the signer, the time that you are going to spend with the signer, sitting in front of them, getting the documents signed and notarized, the time that it's going to take you to drive home from the signing, the time that it's going to take you to drop those documents off at FedEx or UPS. All of that is about 2 to 3 hours for each signing. So here's how I came up with that number, because I know some people like, it don't take that long. Okay, here's where it came from. 30 minutes to print and prep the documents. Okay, so you got to print out, remember, 300 and some odd pages. And then different people like to do different things to prepare the documents. I have certain things that I like to do. You may have a certain thing that you like to do, but about 30 minutes to print and prepare the documents. And then about a 30-minute drive to the signer. Again, that drive may be shorter or longer depending on where you are and where the signer is. Then about 30 to 60 minutes to complete the signing. I can get pretty much all of my signings done in about 30 minutes, but the industry standard is that you allot an hour to complete a signing. And again, depending on your level of expertise, it may even take you longer than that. And then 30 to 45 minutes to drop the documents off at FedEx or UPS and then drive back home. So again, that's about 2 to 3 hours of your time. All right. So now that we kind of figure out all of our different costs, let's give some actual real life examples, okay? So using all of those different figures that I have figured out already, the cost to print per page, including paper, toner, and drums, vehicle expenses, and taxes, and our time, let's do some examples. So let's say, and this is probably a very realistic request. Let's say that you get a request for a loan signing that is 20 miles away from you. It is 165 pages, and the signing service is paying you $85. And this is the type of signing I will hear new signing agents all the time go, oh yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's plenty of money. I'm making a huge profit. Yeah, this is great. Well, let's break it down. So we've got our $85 payment. We're going to subtract from that $17.49. That's how much we figured out it was going to cost us to print. Then we've got our $26.80 vehicle expenses. Again, that's not just the immediate gas, but that also includes all of the other expenses down the line for your vehicle. And then we need to put aside 10% for taxes. So that's going to be $8.50. So that's 3 hours of your time. And your profit is $32.21. So let's divide $32.21 divided by 3 hours of your time. And that comes up to about $10.74 per hour. That's not terrible. But keep in mind, you still, out of that profit, have got to pay your periodic expenses. So again, Things like your notary commission, your notary supplies, your insurance, all of these different things still have to come out of that. So that's not terrible. It's not terrible. Could be better. Let's take a look at another example. So exact same example, but the signing service is only paying $65. And I'm starting to see more and more companies drop down to about this $65 range. So again, it's 20 miles away. You're looking at a package that's 165 pages. They're paying $65. So from that $65, we're going to subtract $17.49 to print. We're going to subtract our $26.80 vehicle expenses. And then we're going to subtract $6.50 for taxes. That leaves you with a profit of $14.21. And then, like I said, this is the type of signing that a lot of new signing agents tend to take. So if you're new, it's also taking you a little bit longer to complete the signing. So let's say this took you 4 hours of your time. That breaks down to about $3.55 per hour that you're making. Guys, that is way less than minimum wage. If somebody offered you a job and said, I'm going to pay you $3.55 per hour, would anybody in here accept it? Let me know in the chat. If you were offered a job and they said, we're going to pay you $3.55 per hour, let me know in the chat or down in the comments whether or not you would accept that. And again, you still have got to pay your periodic expenses out of that profit. You still got to pay for your notary commission, notary journal, notary stamp, insurance, NNA signing agent certification exam, background screening. By the time that you pay for all of that stuff, guys, you're in the negative. You've made absolutely no profit whatsoever. And so again, I'm not trying to down any new signing agents who maybe accept fees of this amount, because I hear people all the time go, I'll accept it for experience. But here's the thing, guys, you're literally paying out of your pocket to work. Where they do that at? Who wants to pay out of their pocket to work? Especially when companies would pay more if more signing agents stuck to their guns and accepted amounts that would actually make them a profit. All right, so let's take a look at another example. Let's look at example number 3. So let's say you've got a company, again, 20 miles away for this signing, 165 pages, but this company is paying $100. I personally think that $100 is just that's like the minimum to me. Because here's the deal, guys. They were paying $100 for a signing back in 2007. When I first started as a signing agent, they were paying $100 for a signing 17 years ago. So there's really no reason why it should still be $100 now. But let's look at the numbers, okay? To me, $100 is like the bare minimum. But $100 payment, we're going to subtract from that $17.49 to print. We're going to subtract from that our $26.80 vehicle expenses. We're going to subtract from that our $10, which is 10% for taxes. So that leaves you with $45.71 in profit. Let's say again that this took 3 hours of your time. So that breaks down to about $15.23 per hour. And again, periodic expenses still have to come out of that. But yes, you are making a profit. And again, there are things that you can do to even increase the profit from there. This is why I say it's very important to become a very efficient signing agent. You want to get done with the signing as quickly as possible. If you can get everything done in 2 hours, you're basically making a higher profit and you're making more money per hour because it's not taking you as long to complete the signing. You want to be efficient on when and how you drop your documents off, so you're not driving back and forth more than you need to. There's different things that you can do to lower your costs. But again, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion. Different people can have their opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. $100 pretty much should be the bottom on what you accept. Okay. So now let's give another example, because one of the things that I always stress to people is that your best bet is to try to get direct business. And even better than that is direct business in the title office. I know for whatever reason, new and aspiring signing agents think that signing agents are not needed in the title office. They'll say all the time, well, the escrow officer is a notary, or there's already notaries there. Why would they hire you to come and do the signings? Well, it's because they got other work to do. Signings take a long time, but they have a lot of other work that they do in title offices. So sometimes it's more cost effective for them to pay somebody else to come into their office and do the signing so that they can get all of the rest of their work that they need to get done. So let's say in example 4 that you have a direct client. Their office is 20 miles away, but you don't have to print anything because they print the documents there at the office and they are still paying you $100. So let's take a look at that breakdown. So we've got our $100 payment. You still got to drive there. So we're going to take our $26.80 vehicle expense. We're going to subtract it from that. And then we still got to pay taxes. So we're going to subtract $10 for taxes. So that gives us a profit of $63.20. And since you're not having to stop anywhere to drop packages off at like FedEx or UPS, it's going to take you less time. So let's say it only takes you about 2.5 hours. You got to drive there and you got to drive back home. So then you're making $25.28 per hour. Guys, again, direct business. This is why you need to focus on marketing for higher paying direct business, because it is going to make you a higher profit in the long run. So look, guys, those are the 4 examples that I have. But again, you can adjust these numbers to come up with all types of different examples so that you can see what scenarios are going to be profitable for you and what scenarios are not going to be profitable for you. And the bottom line is you don't want to take signings that are not profitable. We don't want to work for free, and we definitely don't want to pay to do a signing. So now use your own numbers to determine your minimum acceptable rate. So like I said, if we decide $100 is going to be our minimum amount, then we know that if we get a signing that's only offering $85, that we need to counter offer and tell them basically, hey, I need 100. Or let's say that they're paying 100, but the signing is 50 miles away. So you're driving a lot further. So your vehicle expenses are higher. Again, you need to counter offer to make that signing profitable for you. And sometimes you just have to turn offers all the way down. Sometimes the companies are not going to approve your counter offer. Sometimes they're going to say, no, we're not paying more, because they know that they can find somebody who doesn't know how to figure out their costs and profits who will take it for less. So sometimes, guys, you just have to be willing to reject it, and you have to be willing to walk away. But it's not so hard to reject a signing when you crunch the numbers and you realize that you're going to be doing the signing for $3 an hour. Like, that's not hard for me to turn down at all. Now, again, some of the things that you need to keep in mind: how far does the company want you to drive? How big is the package that they want you to get signed? Do they want you to drop the package off later on in the evening, which means that you've got to go to a FedEx or a UPS location that's further away or out of the way? You need to take all of these different things into account before you accept a signing. The other thing is, it's important to save money on supplies and vehicle maintenance, because those things are going to increase your profits. And so I do a couple of different things. One, whenever I buy paper, especially like if I'm getting it from Office Depot, I always use Coupon Cabin. It's kind of like Rakuten. I've got a link to Coupon Cabin in the description box of this video, but basically you get cash back for making those purchases online. So if I got to buy paper anyway, I might as well get cash back on that purchase. And Coupon Cabin also usually has different discount coupons that you can use to lower the price even more. Because again, if you spend less on paper, that's going to lower your cost, which is going to increase your profit. You also want to be mindful of your gas and your vehicle expenses. I will use a Gas Buddy to try to find the least expensive gas every time I need to fill up. Those cents add up. Everything that you do to lower your cost will increase your profit. So you need to think like a smart business person. What can you do to lower your cost? And then, of course, guys, I always say you need to get training. Better trained signing agents are able to get higher payment because companies know that they're going to do the job right the first time. The other thing that training does for you is it helps you get through signings faster. Again, we want to get through signings as efficiently as possible. There's no need to spend an hour and a half at a signing. Again, pretty much every one of my signings, I get done in 30 minutes or less. So if it's taking an hour and a half for you to do a signing, you're losing money. Your costs are going up and your profits are going down. So it makes sense to invest in training so that you can be a more efficient signing agent to lower your costs and increase your profit. So guys, hopefully all of that information made sense. Hopefully I showed you guys a system that you can use to determine your costs to make sure that you are making a profit. If you've got any questions, I'm going to scroll up. I don't think I saw any, but if you have any questions about calculating your costs and profits, or if you have any suggestions on how to save money, because again, lowering our costs increases our profits, let me know in the chat or in the comments right now. But guys, look, I am super adamant about folks learning how to calculate their costs. This is the area that I see that really causes a lot of new and aspiring signing agents problems. And it's the reason why a lot of signing agents don't stay in this business for as long as they can. Because again, they get into this, they see a company offering $65. They think, oh my gosh, $65 is a lot of money. They start doing signings. And then they realize once they've been doing it for 3 months or 6 months or however long, that they really aren't making a profit, that they're working really hard, but they're not really making a whole lot of money. And I don't know about you, part of the reason why I became self-employed is to make more money and work less. I don't mind working, but I don't want to work harder and make less money. If I'm going to work harder, I want to make more money. And you can absolutely do that. But again, the first thing you need to do is be a smart business owner. Learn the costs for your business. Calculate the costs to do a signing and make sure that you are only accepting signings that are going to make you a profit. I saw this comment. So yes, this is something else, guys. If you are in a witness state, if you are in a state where witnesses are required for like the deed and other mortgage documents, very often companies will require that the notary provide the witness. And of course, the witness is not going to work for free. So you need to include the cost of the witness if you have to provide one into the costs and profits calculation. And if you need more money to cover the cost of that witness, you need to let the company, the title company, the attorney, or the signing service know ahead of time. You always need to make sure that you have an agreed upon cost before you complete the signing. It is very difficult to get companies to agree to pay you more once the signing has been completed. It is also unethical to hold on to the documents and try to demand more money from companies and say, oh, I'm not going to send you these documents until you pay me more money. That's totally unethical. Again, we have to be wise business people, you need to know what your costs are up front. You need to negotiate a proper fee from the company to make sure that all of your costs are being covered up front. We want to make sure, guys, that we are being smart business people. Awesome. I don't see a whole lot of questions, guys, but hopefully this video was helpful. You may need to go back and watch this a few times because I know I did the math kind of fast. Double check my math, but I know I did the math kind of fast. Go back. If you've never done a cost and profit calculation for your business, take the time. Take a few hours, sit down and figure this out for your business. And you may see, ooh, I need to increase the fee that I'm requiring by $5 or $10 to really make a profit. The reason why I've been able to be a signing agent for 17 years is because I make sure that every signing that I do, I make a profit. I just say no if it's not going to make me a profit, unless it is an occasional favor for a company that already sends me a lot of business. Those companies, I may occasionally take a signing for them if they've been consistently sending me high paying business. But in general, if the signing is not, gonna make me money, I do not take it. I run a business, not a charity. Okay. Let's see. What is the average fee or pay for a witness? So Texas, the state that I am in, is not a witness state. So I don't ever have to get witnesses. However, from what I've seen most people saying about $20 to $25 for a witness. If you are in a witness state, let us know in the chat or in the comments. How much do you normally have to pay if you are in a witness state? How much do you normally have to pay for a witness? Again, I want to say I've been seeing $20 to $25, but whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are getting covered for that amount. Hopefully we'll get some folks in the chat and in the comments, Marcos, that will let us know what they pay. So Candace says, what I don't understand is how fees have decreased since COVID. It goes back to the beginning of what I said. We are independent contractors. So there is no minimum wage. This is the wild, wild west. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Companies can pay you whatever you are willing to accept. So fees have decreased because unfortunately, people have come into this industry and they have been willing to accept lower fees. I'm honestly not even mad at the signing services and the title companies. Again, they're in business to make a profit as well. So if they can lower the cost that they're paying for a signing agent, that is going to make them a profit. But this is where, as signing agents, we need to know what our costs are so that we only accept fees that will make us a profit. A lot of people get into this. They don't know what their costs are. They don't understand that the amount that they are accepting is not going to make them a profit until it's too late. Awesome. Let's see. We got another question here. I just got my NNA certification. I know they encourage us to sign up for about 100 signing platforms. How do you keep up with so many different platforms? You don't really need to keep up with them. You just need to sign up. You can keep a list if you want. Just make an Excel sheet if you want to remember who you have signed up with, but you don't need to keep up with them. You basically put your information in their database. And when they have signings in your area, they will send out a request. They'll either send it out to you directly or they will send it out to all of the signing agents in that area. I don't stress about remembering who I've signed up with. Just sign up with everybody. Don't stop at 100. Sign up with every single signing service that you can. Then when you accept a signing or before you accept a signing, again, you need to first make sure, one, that the amount that you are accepting is going to cover your costs so that you can make a profit. And then you also need to do some research on that company before you complete the signing to make sure that they are a reputable company who will pay you. I do have a video where I talk about that. I'll put the link to that video down in the description box as well. Hopefully that helped out. Let's see. Tanya said in South Carolina, her witness fee is $25. So yeah, that's about, like I said, what I see from people. They say $20 to $25. Sean also said $20 to $25. So for those of you who are wondering what that fee could be, $20 to $25 is about average. So again, make sure you include that in your calculations. And look, I am so glad that these math examples were helpful, because I know people tell signing agents all the time, calculate your costs, make sure you're making a profit. But again, if you're new at this, if you've never done this before, if you don't know what your costs are, it's really hard to calculate it properly. So hopefully, yes, that math helped you out and gave you a great visual. All right, guys, I think that's it for this video. Again, if you do think of any other questions after this video is over, feel free to leave it in the comments. I will do my best to answer all of those questions. Again, remember, all of the links that I talk about are in the description box of the YouTube video. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you do have to come over to YouTube to check those links out. And always, guys, you know I'm gonna be back next month with another live stream for y'all. So if you have any topics that you would like for me to go over on next month's live stream, also let me know down in the comments. But guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that you have a great weekend and a happy Mother's Day. And I hope that each and every one of you has a productive and profitable day.